This week on Unscripted, news on Brock Lesnar's new deal and why the match at Wrestlemania 34 was changed. Also, Dolph Ziggler denies he was signed to a new deal by WWE, and early plans of WrestleMania 35's main event. All this and more this week on the future #1 podcast right here on YouTube.com. This is Unscripted. What is going on, everybody? This is France, and we are here for Unscripted, episode 15, I believe, the week after WrestleMania. It is April 14th, 2018. We just got done with WrestleMania week this past week, which was a heck of a week for the most part. I mean, WrestleMania was hit or miss depending on who you talk to. TakeOver is stellar as always. Fun fact to anybody who doesn't know this, the main roster has not had a 5-star match since CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank in 2011. 4 months into the year, and NXT has had 3 5-star matches with Gargano versus Almas, Gargano versus Ciampa, and the ladder match from NXT TakeOver. So, people who don't know what NXT is, and you are tired of watching the main roster, you need to get the network for NXT. So, yeah. Raw, we had the night Raw after Mania this week, which of course is supposed to be billed as the biggest Raw of the year, and other than the call-up of Ember Moon, AOP, and No Way Jose, which, as I said on Wednesday, No Way Jose is meaningless and who cares, it really wasn't that great of a show. I mean, the bit with Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Hardy and Bray Wyatt embracing and all that stuff with Matt Hardy. I got news on what was pitched for that. Whether it happens or not is yet to be seen. But there was returns of Samoa Joe, which was like one of the best parts of the night, with him pretty much telling the truth that we all have felt about Roman Reigns over the last 4 years, as well as Jeff Hardy's return, which as I put into my predictions for the Superstar Shakeup Thursday, I say he's probably going to SmackDown, but with what I've heard and what I've read and what I will talk about today about a pitched idea for Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, that might not happen. But I would like to thank everybody for the views that I have gotten for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT this week, WrestleMania and NXT's TakeOver as well. And I would like to thank all those who viewed my Superstar Shakeup preview and predictions, even though I just winged it. I just thought of those off the top of my head. Just to be honest with you, I do believe some of those are going to happen. If they do, you heard them here first, but I'd like to thank you guys. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I am 4 subs away from getting that URL, like your own personal URL. So it would be unique to my channel. So that would be something nice to get. I would like to get that in as soon as I can. So if you would be kind, please hit that subscribe button, and we only need 4 more before we hit that 100 to get that URL. Before we get into the news, we do have a lot about this Greatest Royal Rumble coming out, and I will talk about it a lot more today because of news of the Undertaker's match, who was in it, who's in it now, and also the fact that Rusev is going to speculation with Rusev has been going rapid recently with the fact that he was in that match. We will talk about it a little bit later and who's in it now, but Dave Meltzer, I believe, is talking about Rusev is not going anywhere. It's all just a storyline overall, and we should not talk about it. I would not talk about the Rusev situation. If he does show up on SmackDown Live this Tuesday, then all is fine, and it's just a work. If we do find out in the next week or so that Rusev has been released from WWE, then we can talk about it some more and talk about how much of a missed opportunity WWE has by letting Rusev go. If Rusev does get released, I will probably, if it is say Tuesday, Tuesday happens, and then we have Tuesday, and then Tuesday night it's like Rusev was been released by WWE, I will talk about it on Wednesday morning, of course. But until then, there's not much you should really talk about. But it has been a heck of a week. We did have Raw, of course, SmackDown Live saw a cash-in, which I had a lot of problems with. So did a lot of people. And most people probably don't get why WWE did it, but it still shows that WWE does not care about things that are special. It does. First off, Charlotte might have been the right person to do it. Some people say it was meant for Charlotte should have did it, but it wasn't the right time. There were so many people she could have went for. And with her, and it's obviously she's coming to SmackDown Live. If Asuka was staying on Raw, she would have shown up on Monday Night Raw and went towards Nia Jax, and that didn't happen. So there's no doubt that she's coming to SmackDown Live. I did put that in my preview for the Superstar Shakeup, that she's coming to SmackDown Live. So why you put this cash in on Tuesday instead of on Sunday? Have Charlotte get beat by Carmella. Have Asuka be beating her down. The Spanish Fly, when they did the Spanish Fly spot, that was the perfect spot. Have Carmella come in, cash in, do a super kick, or a weak-ass super kick, because Carmella does not do a good super kick anyway, to Asuka. Looks like she's going to go pin Asuka. Asuka rolls out of the ring. Charlotte gets back up, eats a super kick, 1, 2, 3, and then you get the title onto Carmella. Asuka comes over in the Superstar Shakeup, and she chases Carmella for the title. The undefeated streak stays intact, because then you have Carmella, Naomi, Natalya, Ruby Riott, and anybody else who's still over there, including the Iconics, because she did go through Peyton Royce in NXT. That was like Peyton Royce's last match in NXT before they had their augmented surgery for their breast. And Billie Kay really didn't do anything over the last few weeks, so having her and Billie Kay have a match also would be great too. There was so much more to build that streak. If you wanted to end it, quite honestly, I think Survivor Series, because WrestleMania didn't need it. It didn't need to happen at WrestleMania. WrestleMania already has big moments. You had Daniel Bryan's return. You had Ronda Rousey. The streak ending should have been a big moment. A big moment. And it was overshadowed by the return of Daniel Bryan, Ronda Rousey's excellent debut in WWE, and everything else that happened on that show. The streak did not need to end at WrestleMania. Just because they're in New Orleans, where streaks go to die, it didn't need to happen. You could have had Charlotte go to Raw, Asuka come to SmackDown, have her chase Carmella. Don't have her get the title match until, I'd say, Money in the Bank, maybe SummerSlam. Don't have Asuka go through the entire SmackDown locker room, be like, Asuka, come over, challenge for the championship. Carmella be like, no, you already had your shot. You didn't I got the title. You didn't at WrestleMania. You have to go through everybody else. Have Carmella, eke out wins against Naomi and Natalya and anybody else who comes over from the Superstar Shakeup, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay. Have Asuka go through the entire SmackDown locker room. You had matches between WrestleMania and SummerSlam with all these women. You don't have to have Asuka on every single SmackDown. You had enough women on SmackDown to build to Asuka getting that title at SummerSlam. Then, at Survivor Series, they only had 16 minutes at WrestleMania. Give them 25 to 30 minutes at WrestleMania. Make it an Iron Woman match. Make it an Iron Woman match that's like that shades of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, where nobody takes a pinfall instead of actually ending in a tie and going into overtime. Have it end at the last seconds instead of having Charlotte tap out. I mean, not Charlotte, but Asuka tap out with a move that was like 75% put in. Have it come down to these two beating the holy hell out of each other. Women's champion versus women's champion, because I bet both women by Survivor Series would be the women's champion. Have them go out there, have a barn burner of a match. Next thing you know, it's coming down to the last few minutes of this Iron Woman match. There's like 10 seconds left. Natural selection. 1, 2, 3. Streak is over in a classic for the women. That would have been the way to end it, not the way they did. Because honestly, it made Asuka look a little bit weak, that she had to tap out. She fought it for a while, but she tapped out to a move that wasn't all the way in, and also the fact that Charlotte didn't even really work on Asuka's knee. Usually when you set up for the figure four, you work on the knee, you work on the knee, and you work on the knee. That really didn't happen in the match. So having her lose the streak at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania, was not a good idea. And because it should have been one of those shocking moments like Undertaker. Undertaker lost his streak at WrestleMania 30, and that kind of put a damper on WrestleMania 30 until Daniel Bryan ended his match. And this is the thing, if Undertaker lost his streak at 30, had Daniel Bryan not won that title at WrestleMania, and they would have gave it to Batista or Randy Orton, it would have went down as the worst WrestleMania of all time. That WrestleMania got saved by Daniel Bryan winning the match. But other than winning the title, other than Daniel Bryan winning the world title at WrestleMania, everybody came out of that show talking about Undertaker's streak being broken. Because I, along with everybody else in the IWC, were like, that shouldn't have happened. And the way WWE booked Brock Lesnar before he got the title last year, which everybody knew from the start because Bryan Alvarez and others reported it right after WrestleMania, that he only got that title to put Roman Reigns over at WrestleMania. And we didn't get that. Now, I'm gonna build up to this, but we're gonna get into the Roman Reigns stuff later. I am going to talk about Ronda Rousey. Speaking of the spectacular performance, I literally tweeted on Twitter right when this match was when they were doing the video package for Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie, that this was piss break number 1 for me because I gave no fucks about this match. Boy, was I wrong, because that match was the fucking best. Another reason why a lot of the matches towards the end of the show was, like, no one gave a fuck about the AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura match didn't get as much, like, the fans went into it because of this match, this match and the Daniel Bryan match already happening. Like, the energy at WrestleMania was just sucked out of the building. And the fact that we're going to be going to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at the end of the month, which will be 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm pretty sure. So I'll be on here in the afternoon talking about that show, and it's supposed to be a 5-hour event. So April has 2 5-hour events supposedly on the WWE Network. That's 10 hours of wrestling in 1 month for 2 events. That is ridiculous. But we'll get there. Early backstage news on WrestleMania 35 main event. To start off the news, Rousey has been garnering rave reviews for her performance at WrestleMania this past Sunday. Dave Meltzer stated in the latest edition of Wrestling Observer and Radio that there's already talks in WWE of having Rousey main event next year's WrestleMania, which of course would be the first time the women's match has main evented a WrestleMania show. If they're going to do this, quite honestly, they better build this WrestleMania around that match and nothing else fucking matter, because you don't want the fans to be like exhausted by the time that match comes around. You better either have a 3-hour WrestleMania or 3.5 hours or something, because if you get this to be the main event, if you really want people to care, you better have a shorter WrestleMania, or everything else is lame as fuck. And this is the only match on the card that matters. Now, it's WrestleMania, so if they were actually to do this, they have to do a lot to make me believe this match anyway. It was also noted that WWE was interviewing women trying to get them to say that Rousey should have been in the main event of last Sunday's show, which no, she should not have. Quite honestly, and the reason she shouldn't have been in last Sunday's show, people do say that she should have been because of her performance. No, because she was the mystery going into WrestleMania. How is she going to react? Is she going to fall flat on her face? Is WWE going to have egg on their face for putting Ronda Rousey in a high-profile match on her first night wrestling? Of course, nobody knew how the match was going to go on, and it went on without a hitch, and it was better than we thought. Had they put her in the main event, especially after a 5-hour show, yes, she probably would have got a better reception than what WWE actually got. But it's still, the fans would have been exhausted. Let's just put it this way. The reaction they got when they were on the show would have been nowhere close to what they would have got at the end of the show when Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar went on. You wouldn't have got this is lame, this is boring, and all that shit, but the fans were tired as fuck. A logical opponent for Ronda Rousey next year's WrestleMania would be SmackDown Women's Champion, former SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. It appears that if WWE had plans to build a Rousey vs. Asuka match, which in my opinion is a bigger money match, at some point, Meltzer said on the post-WrestleMania episode of Wrestling Observer Radio that when Rousey signed, Asuka was told to do the armbar. She was doing the armbar, and so that pretty much has to say Rousey was signed to a WWE contract in November or October of last year, because Asuka was doing the armbar since right before or after Survivor Series. It felt like she's been doing that for months. All the time. Not only did Asuka lose her undefeated streak to Charlotte this past Sunday, but Asuka was actually banned from using the armbar in the match, which, honestly, the reason they did that is because of placement on the card. Ronda Rousey, and this is probably a bad reason why they should have had Rousey, if they wanted to build this match, which anybody who saw these two matches in the order that they were should have realized that they were changing course between Asuka and Ronda Rousey. Because if you wanted Asuka to use the armbar, but you wanted to save it for Rousey, you would have had Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie on before the SmackDown Women's Championship match, so you could have Rousey use the armbar and then have Asuka use the armbar. It's not known what Rousey's next match will be, but she is scheduled to appear at July 7th WWE live event at Madison Square Garden, her Madison Square Garden debut, which will be a big role in Wrestlemania for WWE. I'm sure she's fought in Madison Square Garden for UFC. I could be wrong. Well, no, she hasn't. She has also been featured in advertising for this year's SummerSlam and Survivor Series pay-per-views. It has come out recently that she is going on a European tour with them. I believe it's later that year, like in the same month as the Madison Square Garden show, or in June. I can't remember. I don't have it in my notes. But WWE really fucked up here, in my opinion. They have a lot of work to do. And if there's anything to go on with the once in a lifetime with John Cena and The Rock, because by the time that match happened, I did not give two fucks. And then, of course, they did the second year of it, which was awful. If you can go by the build of the last 3 years for Roman Reigns, they have a lot, and I mean a lot to do to build me to believe and give me a reason to believe that Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey is a believable match. Because at this point, it is not. And no, having her beaten down by 2 women and getting cashed in on is not going to help build that. I mean, yes, it's 2 nights after WrestleMania, but this match at this time is not. I do not believe that Charlotte can even hang with Ronda Rousey. And if they build Ronda Rousey the way she should be built, nobody other than an undefeated Asuka, which she's not anymore, will not be believable. Now with Asuka, this is the big question mark because she wasn't on Monday. Where do they go with Asuka? Do we go a redemption story with her? Do we have her go another year almost until WrestleMania next year, undefeated, winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, beating the hell out of Carmella and Naomi and whoever else stays on SmackDown and who else ever comes over? That's going to be the big thing. This is next year, and this is something that there's talk about. This isn't set in stone. Not like last year when we came out of WrestleMania and they were like Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 34. That was 100% confirmed. This is not even close. Ronda Rousey had one good match. She had one match on TV. Her mic skills need to improve, unless you're going to put Paul Heyman with her, which they don't want to, but unless they put Paul Heyman with her, which if you really wanted to have Charlotte be the one go up against her, I would have Paul Heyman go with Ronda Rousey and have Ronda Rousey be the heel in this match, even though Charlotte is a much better heel than she is a babyface. Charlotte as a babyface is mostly boring half the time. But I just don't believe this match. I know it's a year out, but if you would have Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte on a pay-per-view between now and next year at this time, I wouldn't believe it at all. This match would start going, and I would tweet, if this match lasts more than 2 minutes, then it's going to be a boring as fuck. I don't buy it. Ronda Rousey is a legit badass and a killer. She can go out there and snap your arm. The only person, still, even though she has one loss, who is even believable to beat her is Asuka. To even go up toe-to-toe with her is Asuka. If Asuka goes, let's say, and of course another reason why they didn't want to do Ronda Rousey versus Asuka is because they're moving Asuka to SmackDown. God forbid they have Ronda Rousey go for the SmackDown Women's title. It has to be Raw. She has to go to Raw. She has to stay on Raw. No, they can change it up if they want to. And if they're going to have Ronda Rousey versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship next year, it still can happen, and then, Asuka could probably beat Rousey. Or if they don't go with that, and this is another one that was rumored for this year, but they scrapped it, obviously, was Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, and I can't remember their last fucking friend's name, the 4 horsewomen from MMA versus the 4 horsewomen from WWE. Becky Lynch, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte in a 4-on-4 match. That will not be a main event worthy match. As of right now, Rousey versus Charlotte is not a main event worthy match. An unbeaten Asuka versus Ronda Rousey was a big money match. There was so much money in this feud that they could have went with. There was so much more money to build in this streak. I swear, I'm not a billionaire. I've never been one. But apparently, when you become a billionaire in the wrestling business, you don't like making money anymore. You just like pissing money away and throwing it away, trying to build up one guy, while the rest of the people in the company do not get anything. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I would love to be in Vince McMahon's shoes. I would love to be able to have that money, because if someone came to me and told me that Asuka's streak needs to end at WrestleMania 34, I would have told them no. Why would you end the streak right now? There's no reason for it. We can do the cash-in. The cash-in that happened on Tuesday should have happened on Sunday. It would have been a big moment, and it would have kept the streak alive. Like I said, the streak needs to, a streak like that needs to end when nothing else big is happening. When you had Ronda Rousey making her debut, Daniel Bryan making his return, this was not the night to end the streak. Not on a random SmackDown, not on a random Raw, not on a random B-show pay-per-view. SummerSlam, Survivor Series probably could have used it, because honestly, unless you're going to have an AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar rematch, there's really not usually anything worth seeing at a Survivor Series pay-per-view. I mean, yeah, 2 years ago they had a great 5-on-5 men's match, but other than that, there usually isn't. That would have been in a women's match for title versus title, champion versus champion, not title versus title, but champion versus champions, Charlotte versus Asuka, undefeated versus the Queen again, too. But this time there's no Money in the Bank cash-in, because the Money in the Bank, well, actually, that'd be fun. Heck, they could have Charlotte win the Money in the Bank ladder match this time around. That could be something. Anyway, they have a lot. I'm getting a little off track here, but they have a lot to build this for, and they better get started. I'd say about SummerSlam or something, and get you to believe that this match can happen, because as of right now, I don't believe Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte as a main event worthy match. Plain and simple. Moving on here, Dolph Ziggler addresses rumors he's signed for $1.5 million. Dolph Ziggler recently spoke with WSVN-TV entertainment reporter Chris Van Vliet. You can check out the full interview in the video there. Rumors he re-signed onto WWE for $1.5 million. He says, "My father called me to congratulate me on my deal that I had resigned, and I said, 'What are you talking about?' It's fun to have the internet rumors out there, but even if and when I do resign, I won't be like, 'Hey everybody, here's the details of my contract.' There's a short amount of time left on this contract. We're negotiating. We'll see what happens." I don't buy that one for a second. He's just probably working everybody, saying, "Oh, well, what are you talking about?" He probably did sign that contract, and he's just doing this to try and save face, and so, keep the kayfabe in or whatever, because he doesn't want it to be like, "Oh, well, yeah, I signed this contract." Well, apparently you had to have signed something, maybe a short-term extension, because from what we've all read, and this has been confirmed, his contract was out before the Royal Rumble. So for him to sit there and say he denies signing a brand new deal, it's probably just him keeping it on the down low, so it's not like him gloating about it. I could just see that for that. Speaking of him, he was also asked about his last U.S. title run. He says he wasn't happy about it. "I'm not going to guess that some plans that were made originally didn't happen. I asked to go away for a while, just let them forget that I wasn't doing anything of too much importance. I asked for some time off. I got kicked in the head by Jack Swagger and got a concussion when I was a champ, and I was out for 2 weeks. And that's basically all the time off I've had. Even my stand-up dates are booked around when I'm not working here. So if I'm never gone, no one can hope for me to come back. One other time, I was gone for 5 weeks to film a movie. That was it. I never went away. I've never needed a surgery, and I don't want to. But you can't be missed if you're never gone, and you were always here. So I asked to go away for 6 months or a year, and was told no. But maybe a couple of months. Out of nowhere, in this title match, I won the match. It was really fun. It was really crazy, and Corbin Rude are really fun to wrestle. I won it, and I went, all right, what am I going to do now? And I figured I would have a moment and have everyone talking about me one way or another. So I threw the belt, down the title, and walked out. I thought it was great, and then 3 TVs later, I was back. First and foremost, Ziggler, you didn't really throw the title down. You just held it like looking at it, and then you just laid it on the mat. But anyway, he is right about one thing. How can we miss somebody if they're still here? When Kane was younger, a couple years ago, Kane was this big monster heel. He got injured. He was gone for like 6 months. He came back and he was cheered for about 5 minutes before he showed that he's still a heel. Absent makes the heart grow fonder. This is also under the guidelines of being overexposed. Why do you think there's nobody special besides Brock Lesnar? Yes, people complain, as well as I do, that Brock Lesnar does not need the championship, which he doesn't. But the reason Brock Lesnar is so cheered still is because he's not always there. He's only there once or twice a month, if that, or when he needs to build up for his next match, and then he's gone. He's still an attraction. Nobody else is an attraction. Why do you think NXT works so well? When Sami Zayn was down there, we didn't see Sami Zayn every week. When Asuka was still down there, we didn't see Asuka every week. Same thing with Finn Balor. Same thing with Shinsuke Nakamura. Same thing with Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch. Everybody who's come up from NXT, we didn't see them down there as much. Tyler Breeze, didn't see him that all the time. Now they come up to the main roster, and like the AOP, who you saw maybe once a month. We will see them every single week, and then they'll just get bland and boring because you're always going to see them. When Shinsuke Nakamura made his debut, the very first month, they booked him perfectly. He came through, they did his entrance, they had the violin guy, which I wish he would have been the one at Wrestlemania playing Shinsuke to the ring, but that's neither here nor there. And they had him come out, he interrupted The Miz, it looked like maybe him and The Miz are going to have a feud, but Miz, of course, went to Raw. And then we didn't see him. He didn't wrestle a match until Backlash. But we didn't see him except for maybe once or twice in that build. It was all Dolph Ziggler sitting there talking trash about Shinsuke Nakamura. That was perfect. That was the perfect way to keep him special. You didn't see him every single week. They did a highlighting package. They did video packages of Shinsuke Nakamura. But no, we're going to see Ember Moon every week. No Way Jose I really don't care about. We're going to see the AOP. We're going to see the Iconics most likely every week. You have so much talent on this roster, you don't need to show the same 4 or 5 men and women every single week. We don't need to see AJ Styles every week even though he's a champ. We don't need to see Seth Rollins every week even though he's the Intercontinental Champion. We don't need to see Roman every week. We don't need to see everybody. So if you still say Roman Reigns comes out this next week to the Superstar Shakeup, he has his match, whatever, and then he's gone. He's gone for like the next 2 weeks, and then we don't see him until the. He'll shit. Yeah, okay. Saying okay, we're gonna skip past the Greatest Royal Rumble, which will be going on. We'll talk about more of that later, and then we have to build towards Backlash, which of course is 2 weeks, is a week later actually. Yeah. This is going to be really weird for WWE because you have the Greatest Rumble on the 27th, which is pretty much like a pay-per-view, and then the very next fucking week, okay, we still have another week. A week and 2 days later, we have Backlash. So the fact that you see WWE promoting the Greatest Royal Rumble and Backlash at the same time is because of how badly they did the scheduling. But after Backlash, okay, we're going to start with Backlash. After Backlash, say Backlash happens on May 6th, and we go there and we have the pay-per-view. You have the winners come out, or you have like Roman Reigns, who's going to probably be Universal Champion, coming out of the Greatest Royal Rumble. He goes to Backlash. He's going to win that match there for whoever he wrestles. He shows up on WWE Raw the next night, cuts a promo, probably has a match, and then he's gone for the next 2 weeks. And Kurt Angle sets up a number one contenders match, not the first week, but the second or third week. And then on the go-home show for the next pay-per-view, Roman Reigns shows up again, and him and his opponent have a promo, a stare-down, whatever they need to do, and then we go to the pay-per-view. You don't have to have everybody the same all the time. Less shoving down their throats and a little bit more breathing room. You can show off other people. I mean, look at SmackDown. Where's Ty Dillinger been? Catering. Where's Baron Corbin been? Catering. Where has Mojo Rawley been? Catering. Zack Ryder? Catering. It's always been the same. You need to give these guys some breathing room. I do agree with that, and he is right that how can we miss somebody if they're always here? Having Dolph Ziggler gone for 6 months would have been great. Have him gone from December all the way up until Fastlane would have been fine. That would have been a big, huge surprise. I mean, a lot of people would have complained about it maybe, but it's like, have the six-pack challenge the same way if you want. Have everybody else. And it's like, the sixth person is, and it's Dolph Ziggler. Crowd would have went crazy at Fastlane to have Dolph Ziggler back. But he comes back at the Royal Rumble, and he was disappointed with that. He says he only lasted about 90 seconds, and that was disappointing to me for everything I had done in the last couple of weeks and months. Exactly. And of course, WWE doesn't know how to do things right. Having Dolph Ziggler leave in December, 7 weeks later, come back. He comes back at the Royal Rumble. Number 30. Oh my God, it's Dolph Ziggler. 90 seconds later, he's gone. What was the point? And then we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and he didn't even get. This is the thing that's fucked up about this. He didn't even get that one-on-one match that he's been begging for. He said has been criminal. Excuse me. Okay, so I can wait. So, yes, WWE has a lot to work for, and you have enough talent, and especially with people coming up, unless they're going to start cutting the fat, which WWE loves to do, and cutting away from people that you know that we love to see. I could see Rusev being fired. I could see Ty Dillinger being released. Heath Slater, Rhino probably going to get released, and they're just going to trim the fat because you have so many people coming up. There's so much talent on this roster that I don't understand how they can't go and give us good television, and you don't have to use the same characters every single week. AJ can take a couple weeks off. Shinsuke can take a week or two off. And like on Raw, Roman doesn't have to be there every week. Seth doesn't have to be there every week. Miz doesn't have to be there every week. You don't have to be there every single week. It makes for better television because it's like, oh, he's been here every single week. They've been doing the same thing with him. Boring, boring, boring. I hope WWE, and I'll get to Vince McMahon later, but yeah, Dolph Ziggler denied he had not signed a $1.5 million contract extension. I don't buy that. He's just playing it up that he didn't, and that his contract. He might, if he didn't sign one, he probably signed an extension so he can try and get a new one, but I don't buy that at all. Undertaker announced for the Greatest Rumble event. WWE has announced that the Undertaker will face Rusev at the Greatest Royal Rumble match in a Royal Rumble event in a casket match. The Greatest Royal Rumble will take place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on April 27th and will be available on the network. The last casket match took place was at Survivor Series in 2008 where he beat The Big Show. During this time, this was on Tuesday, Rusev said enough is enough. Rusev posted the following tweet hinting at something with lyrics from the WWE legend Owen Hart's theme music. Enough is enough, maybe it's time for a change. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we wake up, and Rusev was pulled from the casket match with The Undertaker. WWE announced that Chris Jericho will be placing Rusev in the casket match against Undertaker at the April 27th Greatest Royal Rumble event in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which will air on the WWE Network. Jericho was previously announced for the 50-man Rumble match that is taking place that night. The storyline is that Lana refuses to let Rusev compete in a casket match. She made this tweet shortly before WWE announced the change. Lana tweeted, all over the world, little boys and girls are celebrating Rusev Day. They smile for the greatest superstar ever. I've already spoken with WWE officials to change that match because I refuse to let my husband Rusev at Rusev Bowl compete in a casket match at hashtag WWGRR. Happy hashtag Rusev Day. Continuing the song, as this happened, Rusev removed all WWE references from his bio. Rusev was supposed to face The Undertaker in a casket match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, but was replaced by Chris Jericho. Now Rusev has removed all references to WWE in his Twitter bio and profile. After his removal from the casket match against Undertaker, Rusev tweeted, "Life is life. It will be Rusev Day somewhere." So, and it has come out that David Meltzer also has stated that Rusev being out of the casket match does not mean he's being fired. He's not released. He's not leaving. It's part of the storyline. He's going to be in the 50-man Royal Rumble. If Rusev came out and actually won the 50-man Rumble, that would be amazing, but I doubt that. I still want to know what the 50-man Rumble winner gets. It's just the 50-man Rumble. It's like the Royal Rumble from like the first few Royal Rumbles until 93, where all you did was win. Yay, you won the Rumble. Who cares? So, no, WWE knew what they were doing. People out there saying, oh, The Undertaker, he picks his opponents. He wants to do the honors for Rusev. Give me a break. Give me a break, people. Rusev is buried by WWE, and this was WWE's way of burying him on TV, figuratively, because they've been doing it forever. Rusev has not recovered since WrestleMania 31. What happened at WrestleMania 31? He was undefeated himself. This is, of course, the second streak in WWE to die, after, of course, The Undertaker's streak in the last 4 years. Rusev comes in undefeated. He's the United States champion, rides on a fucking Russian tank. That wasn't a U.S. tank. That was a Russian tank. That was a Russian war tank. He comes in, huge fucking entrance at WrestleMania 31. He goes out against John Cena, beats him. Right after that, not too long after that, he goes and starts a storyline where they take Lana away from him, gives him Summer Rae because that's an upgrade. And then him and Dolph Ziggler had this shitty-ass storyline with Rusev and Summer Rae in one of these fucking bad skits, Rusev holds up a fucking fish, a dead fish, I think it had its head chopped off, and said, "It's cold like Lana." That was bad. This dude has not recovered since he lost the title to John Cena. His entire career since then has been up and down, up and down. He was in the League of Nations, which that was bad. The League of Nations was put together to get Roman Reigns over going into WrestleMania 32. And honestly, there was a time between Survivor Series of 2014 and 2015. Well, I'm sorry, 2015. Yeah, Survivor Series 2015 going into 2016's Royal Rumble, where they had the fans how they wanted them. And then what did they do? They screwed it up at the Royal Rumble, because that's where Vince McMahon fucks up all the time. As soon as Roman Reigns was in that match in the beginning, I think he started number 1. They had him start number 1, and what did they do? They had the League of Nations come out, take Roman Reigns, pull him out underneath the bottom rope. Instead of eliminating him like a sensible team would have did, they beat him up, they pulled him out of the ring, they put him through a table, and then Roman Reigns was helped to the back. And halfway through that Royal Rumble, because Roman Reigns comes into this match cheered. He was actually getting cheered at that Royal Rumble. He comes into the match WWE champion with cheers. There might have been some boos, but it wasn't as bad as at the end of the show. He comes in, he's cheered, he gets beat up, he goes out, he comes back, looks like he's going to win the whole damn thing when there's only a few people left. Triple H eliminates him, and this probably fumed Vince McMahon off pretty badly. He shits thrown over, and Triple H gets cheered. But yes, that's what the League of Nations was put together for, was to get Roman Reigns over, and it failed. We'll talk about more of Roman Reigns' failures later. Then, of course, that entire group went up to face a New Day at WrestleMania. They actually won at WrestleMania, and then lost the next night when they got a tag team title match. And then, of course, he was just up and down, and then last year, of course, he gets placed on SmackDown in the Superstar Shakeup. What happens? He was out with an injury. He comes back. The original plan for Jinder Mahal's title reign was supposed to go to Rusev. Imagine what happens if that would have happened with Rusev, and Rusev won the WWE Championship instead of Jinder Mahal. That would have been just amazing, and I'm pretty sure things would have went great, a little bit better, and SmackDown wouldn't have been as shit as it was. But he comes back, He's posted a tweet. I think it was on Instagram because they do videos. It was on Twitter, whichever. And he's like, I want a match for the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank, and I'm not coming. And if I don't get that match, I'm going back to Bulgaria. That was dropped immediately, like that, because nothing came of it. No answer from Daniel Bryan and Shane. No answer, no nothing. He came back. He lost a flag match to John Cena, and Rusev was back to being buried. Then Aiden English, who recently just lost his tag team partner, Simon Gotch, who got fired, I believe it was right around this time, gets paired with him, and Rusev starts getting called, and Aiden English starts the Rusev Day. It's Rusev Day. Rusev Day, Rusev Day. And it becomes the most over thing in the company outside of Daniel Bryan. And what happens when something gets over on its own and it wasn't created by Vince McMahon? Kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it. Zack Ryder had it happen to him. Wade Barrett's had it happen to him. They tried to kill CM Punk. They tried to kill Daniel Bryan. You know what? Daniel Bryan and CM Punk fought until Vince McMahon had no choice but to give in and put these two at the top where they should have been. But Daniel Bryan has one of the greatest moments of WrestleMania history, and CM Punk has the longest WWE Championship reign, and I think it's the longest WWE Championship reign in the modern era, which starts with the new era in the 1990s. So, yeah, CM Punk has one of the longest reigns of all time, and Daniel Bryan has the biggest moment in WrestleMania, positive moment, I should say, in WrestleMania over the last 4 years. So, this was a burial. This was going to be a burial of Rusev. This guy asked for his release earlier this year, like weeks before WrestleMania. What did WWE do? They said, no. We're not letting you leave. We're going to put you in a United States Championship match. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Your fans thought you were going to win? Nah. We need you to take the pinfall. You're going to sit there at WrestleMania and have Jinder Mahal win the match like he has won every single fucking big match that he's had. Have a Singh Brothers distract, hit the Colossus, and that was that. Then Randy Orton won his rematch. He fought for his rematch at Backlash, so we get Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal again. Can someone tell me why? But then we have Rusev on Tuesday get told, you're going to go to this casket match. And then, of course, Rusev put a tweet out, oh, bury me softly, brother. Rusev knew what was going to happen. I hope, and they say it's a work, and Dave Meltzer says the whole thing's a storyline. I'm hoping Rusev's going to leave WWE because this guy deserves better than this. He does. This guy has worked his ass off, got over on his own. Man, like, the drugs that Vince McMahon does has got to be something powerful because there is no fucking way that this guy should be getting treated like he is. You get over on your own in this company, and and everything you do means nothing. If your name isn't Roman Reigns, John Cena, and a select few others who can do what they want, Jericho can do what he wants. Jericho can get whatever over, and he's still not going to be buried as bad as this. John Cena can go out there and probably get anything over that he wants, and he's not going to get buried like this. Fuck, Rock came back, he got boots to asses over. As a catchphrase, he had it on a shirt. Seth Rollins can go out there and get Monday Night Rollins and Grand Slam Rollins over with the crowd, and WWE won't punish them. Rusev gets Rusev Day over. You go to Ring of Honor, you'll hear Rusev Day chants. Brian Zane did a video vlog of his time in WrestleMania, and I heard at least once or twice in that vlog, Rusev Day chants. This guy is over. And honestly, this could be like Daniel Bryan when he was trying to get to the main event of WrestleMania 30, that WWE either fires the guy or pushes this guy because fans are not getting over the Rusev Day chants anytime soon. And if I was fans, just sit there loud and proud during matches that you don't care about, like Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at this Greatest Royal Rumble, or any Roman Reigns match if you don't like him. Chant Rusev Day. Just continue with the Rusev Day chants until Vince McMahon gets his head out of his fucking ass. Until Vince McMahon is getting off of the Roman Reigns cock and actually does something great for this guy, or they fire him. And if they fire him, it would be a big fucking mistake, and they know that. Guy's one of the highest selling shirts in WWE right now with Rusev Day, just recently trumped by Walk with Elias. Yet this guy doesn't get anything more than pinned at WrestleMania in a shitty ass fatal 4-way. He does not win the number one contendership to go to Backlash, which we'll get to those later. And I just don't know. Rusev deserves better than he's getting. I hate that they do this. When somebody gets over like this, if it's not in the plans, they kill it. That's not a Triple H thing. That is a Vince McMahon thing. If they want to, put Rusev down in NXT. Put Rusev down in NXT. I guarantee you he would be more over in NXT and would actually get a chance to do something. He probably wouldn't be NXT champion, but I could see him and Lars Sullivan becoming a huge-ass tag team maybe, or go up against War Machine or something. I don't know. But this guy deserves better than what he's getting. Moving on here, the real reason Roman Reigns is getting another championship match at the Greatest Rumble events. Now, this really pisses me off. Can someone explain to me why Roman Reigns, of all people from WrestleMania, is getting a rematch? When the Usos had to battle the New Day to see who goes to the Greatest Royal Rumble event to face the Bludgeon Brothers, don't they get an automatic rematch? Look at The Miz on Monday. The Miz comes into that spotlight, into the ring, and says, I want my rematch at Backlash. Go 24 hours later. Randy Orton, same thing, has to battle in a triple threat match to see who goes to Backlash for the United States Championship. But yet you're getting Roman Reigns a Universal Championship match. He wasn't even the champion going in. Is Asuka going to get another SmackDown Women's Championship match, even though Charlotte just lost hers? If Charlotte goes to Raw, is she guaranteed a Women's Championship match at Backlash? No. So why is Roman Reigns getting another Universal Championship match at the Greatest Royal Rumble? Jonathan Coachman comes out a couple days ago and says, due to the beating that he got and the fact that he stood up to Brock Lesnar, he deserves a championship match. Really? So why didn't Samoa Joe get a second championship match on his own? Why didn't Braun Strowman get a one-on-one rematch against Brock Lesnar? Samoa Joe had one of the best starts to a match against Brock Lesnar. He took it to Brock Lesnar, and what happened? They beat him in 5 minutes, and then Samoa Joe gets no rematch. Yet Roman Reigns gets one himself. Listen to this. It's safe to say that the WWE well and truly swerved the fans with the main event of WrestleMania 34 on Sunday night as Brock Lesnar retained the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns in the main event. It was widely expected that the big dog would lead the Mercedes-Benz Superdome with the Monday Night Raw's top championship at this, which quite honestly, it's not even close to the top championship. The championship has no value whatsoever. It's hardly defended. It's hardly seen. And hell, none of the WWE's books Raw so poorly with its championships that none of them have any value whatsoever. Seth Rollins might be able to bring value back to the Intercontinental title, but the tag team titles were buried at WrestleMania. You had the wrong two women in the Raw Women's Championship match, and the Universal title is meaningless as fuck. So there. In fact, you could say it was in the works since the previous WrestleMania performance. WrestleMania counted 3 years ago where Rollins performed the heist of the century. That was a very good moment. And that match at that WrestleMania, people cared about. This match, WWE got everything they deserved for that match the way it happened. And we'll talk about it later. Not only that, but it was also thought that the Beast would drop the championship in New Orleans and then return to the UFC. So much was made of this contract situation and his desire to return to the Octagon that it came as an even bigger surprise on Monday when the company announced that he had signed a new deal. The duration of that contract, though, remains to be seen. Some fans aren't too happy with is that Roman Reigns is getting an immediate rematch for the championship on April 27th at the Greatest Royal Rumble event in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. WWE did try to deliver a shoot promo via Reigns on this week where they claimed he didn't know what was going on. But of course, fans clearly saw right through this plot, as Reigns is now expected to capture the gold in front of a more receptive crowd. There it is right there. Vince McMahon has a heel in the making here. Vince McMahon has a massive heel in the making for this match. It is. Vince McMahon could have a big heel, and I don't remember where I heard it, but Roman Reigns is an Onawale. Their family is not babyface made. The Onawale family, the Samoan dynasty, are big-time heels, minus The Rock, minus Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and I think Hachi Peter Maivia. Everyone else is born and raised to be a heel. Why are you going to use Roman Reigns to be the biggest babyface on the company is beyond me. However, that's not the only reason why WWE is having the match in King Abdullah International Stadium. Considering the plan is to exact same as it originally was for WrestleMania, fans have been asking why the company is giving Saudi Arabia a match of this stature, especially since it's only just happened at the grandest stage of them all, and could have been more of an impact at a US-based event, such as one of the big pay-per-views, greatest big pay-per-views. While Reigns' reception obviously plays a part, Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer has claimed that it will all come down to the amount of money WWE can make through deals in the Middle East. Plus, he added that fans already paid for their tickets to WrestleMania, so the company could book it how they wanted to. According to Still Real to Us, Alvarez said on Wrestling Observer Live, everybody had already paid their money for WrestleMania. Why did the title have to change at Mania? It didn't have to. He does have a point there, but that's not good. So now they've got this giant show in Saudi Arabia. Do you guys know how much money WWE could potentially make through deals with Saudi Arabia? So that's the priority right now, not WrestleMania, that you already bought your tickets. Although not everyone is going to be happy with a massive potential title change taking place overseas, it makes complete sense for WWE from a business perspective. There's so much money to be made there, and by giving Saudi Arabia and WWE partners there a match and result of this stature, it shows how much they value them by giving them this perk that didn't take place on American soil and was saved for them. So perhaps this is why we're seeing a 50-man Royal Rumble jam-packed with elite stars, The Undertaker competing in 7 title matches, and even John Cena in Jeddah. You built for 3 years this match. You had The Undertaker's streak broken by Brock Lesnar 4 years ago. You had Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker last year. It was the only 2 people who've beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania. You had this built up, and you sacrificed the entire main event of WrestleMania to put it in Saudi Arabia. The only way you can save face for this, because you know he's going to go to, if they go to Saudi Arabia and he gets a cheers, which from what I've heard, that's not going to happen because people in Saudi Arabia are getting sick of this. There are fans, and I've seen it all over the place. There are Roman Reigns fans sick and tired of this fucking agenda. Just put the title on him and get it over with. What's going to happen when we get to Monday Night Raw? He's going to get booed heavily. What do? You have him come out and be like, do a shoot promo. Have him be like, listen, man, listen, guys, I want to, like, you're going to boo me? You're going to boo me? I beat this guy's ass in a steel cage off American soil in Saudi Arabia, and I come home to this crap? I put my ass on the line to please you fans, and you don't appreciate it? How dare you? I put my ass out there for each and every one of you, and you don't care. Well, like, I wish we could curse, but it's like, fuck you fans. I don't care about you. I'm turning my back on you, and you turned your back on me. I'm turning my back on you, and you have a monster heel right then and there. Please welcome my new manager, Paul Heyman, or something. If you want to do that, if they want to do that, but that would be the best you could do. If you have a monster heel in Roman Reigns coming out of this, then you strike gold. If not, then you wasted WrestleMania. So basically, what they're doing here is saying, yeah, WrestleMania doesn't matter. You bought your tickets to it. You bought the network for it. We don't care. We got to worry about Saudi Arabia. Really? Because you're not going to go there every fucking week. You're only going to be there for this one event this year. Probably do an event next year. But this is what you sacrificed the entire WrestleMania main event for this? Well, if you were going to sacrifice this match at WrestleMania, then you should have put something else on the main event. Because as you've seen, Vince McMahon, as you saw at WrestleMania, the fans did not care. And no, Sean Waltman, X-Pac, I heard your comments about this. This match was god-fucking awful. You could turn the commentary off. That match was awful. 6 F5s, 4 spears, and a couple suplexes does not make a good fucking match. couple elbows to bust somebody open, and no, that was not going off script. That was how that was supposed to go. That was just total fucking bullshit. So that is them going to Saudi Arabia. But it's you sacrificed everything you built up for 3 fucking years that this guy is going to be the big dog. You gave him the nickname the big dog, even though the Undertaker will be until the day he dies, until forever, the big dog. You don't just take a nickname from somebody and give it to somebody else. That does not how that works. The Undertaker didn't come out and say, "You're the big dog now." No. You don't just sit there and say, "I'm the big dog now." No, that's not how that works. The big dog has been and will always be the Undertaker. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, before we get into Lesnar's contract, we are going to talk a bit about SmackDown. This week's SmackDown draws the biggest ratings since April 11, 2017, and there's a big reason for that. This week's SmackDown, the biggest blue brand show of the year, with Fallout from Wrestlemania 34, drew 2.952 million views. This is up 19.7 from last week's 2.467 million views. This is the best SmackDown viewership since April 11, 2017 episode, which drew 3.105 million viewers. SmackDown was the third number 3 in the viewership for the night on cable behind Hannity and Rachel Maddow. SmackDown was number 1 in the night in the 1849 demographic for the 5th week in a row. In the comparison, post-WrestleMania, Raw drew with 3.2921 million viewers, up from last week's 3.357 million views. It topped SmackDown's audience by 33%. Now, why was April 11, 2017 the last time SmackDown had a high rating, and was in the 3s, by the way? Can anybody guess? I'll give you a guess. I'll give you a minute. You done? Have you figured it out? What happened 7 days later? What happened the very next week on SmackDown? They had a certain 6-pack challenge, and that certain 6-pack challenge led to one of the biggest booking blunder of all of 2017. April 18th, 2017, I looked it up on the network, was the night Jinder Mahal became the number 1 contender to the WWE Championship. And then a couple weeks later, we had Jinder Mahal become the 50th different WWE champion in history, and the worst title reign of that title belt. I would have taken Vince McMahon holding the title for a fucking 3-4 days over Jinder Mahal's entire wrestling 6 months as WWE champion. So yeah, SmackDown, you had a good show. How about next year? How about this year's Superstar Shakeup? You don't fuck it up. How about that? So yeah, and of course, April 11, 2017 was the Superstar Shakeup SmackDown portion last year. That's why it got a 3.9. So 3.105. But of course, what happened after that? Jinder Mahal became the number 1 contender, and right after that, he became the WWE champion, and the dark days of SmackDown happened. That's why SmackDown that's sad for SmackDown. It took them a whole fucking year, almost, pretty much a whole year, just to have the highest ratings, to have a close to 3 rating again. And that's even with Jinder Mahal being the U.S. champion, which he should have been last year. Not the WWE champion, the U.S. champion. But look, it took him a fucking year, too late for that to happen. Now, backstage news on when Lesnar's new contract was agreed upon. WWE officials announced this past Monday that Brock Lesnar signed a new contract with WWE. According to Dave Meltzer in the latest edition of Wrestling Observer News Radio, the agreement for a new deal was made on the Monday before WrestleMania at the Go Home episode of Raw, and was signed on Sunday before the match. It's a new contract, not an extension of his existing deal, and is at a higher rate. Meltzer noted that it's not known if the new deal is a one-match contract or for more than that. The agreement was kept quiet, and very few people knew about it. So when I say very few people, that would be Vince McMahon, Paul Heyman, and Brock Lesnar, at least. I'd probably say Triple H most likely, and Stephanie. That's it. Nobody else. Meltzer stated that Roman Reigns found out about it on the day of WrestleMania, which is kind of shitty because he's in your main event, and had thought he would be winning the WWE title from Lesnar until that point. The original ending was supposed to have Roman Reigns coming off the rope and get put into an F5. However, he would counter it into a spear and pin Lesnar to win the match. It was changed to Lesnar hitting the F5 and beating Reigns. That ending would have looked like shit. And it probably would have been the first F5. When he, like, after the first F5. Like, Roman Reigns getting out of an F5 and hitting him with the spear would have looked like shit, first and foremost. He already, if the match went the way it was supposed to, and when he got bloodied, and, all that stuff, and then Roman Reigns comes off, when Roman Reigns comes off and does his super spear, off from rope, onto the other one to hit a spear, he gets picked up, and then he's supposed to get out of that and hit a spear, 1, 2, 3. That would have looked like shit. Now, a lot of people, the match went off as planned and nobody went off script. The report earlier in the week that the new deal allows for Lesnar to fight in the UFC. Obviously, if it's a one-match contract, then it's a moot point anyway. Meltzer also noted that Lesnar has yet to re-enter the USADA testing pools. Lesnar was suspended by USADA for testing positive for a banned substance, estrogen blocker, I have no idea, in an out-of-competition test and an in-competition test prior to his fight with Mark Hunt at UFC 200 in 2016. Lesnar was suspended 1 year by USADA. However, the suspension was frozen after Lesnar announced his retirement from MMA. Lesnar still has 6 months of his suspension complete once he re-enters the USADA testing pool. So if Lesnar is serious about returning to UFC, it's unclear why he has yet to re-enter the pool. Yeah, so Vince McMahon lost his fucking mind. There was also talk about a backstage altercation after the show. Like, as soon as we woke up Monday morning, there was talk about a backstage altercation with Brock Lesnar going back there to have, he got in it with Vince McMahon. He came back, he was pissed as fuck. I wonder if this is going to show up on the 24 special when they do Wrestlemania returns to New Orleans, because they love to do those 24 specials, and I like them as well. But apparently, he was upset about something. He went and confronted Vince. Apparently, there was word that he threw the Universal title at either Vince or at a wall. I don't buy that. And Shane got up in between the two. And no one knows exactly why, but I'll tell you exactly why. And you can tell in the fucking match. The big story of this match was nobody's kicked out of the spear for a year. Nobody's kicked out of the F5 since he beat Goldberg for it. Beat Goldberg for the title. The big move, like when that first F5 gets hit, Brock Lesnar goes for a pin, and Roman Reigns kicks out. Vince McMahon wanted the crowd to be like, oh my God, have that kind of reaction. But if you watch that match back, nobody gave a fuck. You can tell immediately what pissed off Brock Lesnar. He was pissed. He probably told Vince McMahon, or had Paul Heyman tell Vince McMahon, this is a bad idea. You're going to have me go out there and try and put this guy over, and the crowd is not going to fucking care. Brock Lesnar was pissed from the entire fucking match that this match nobody cared about. First off, it was a 5-hour fucking pay-per-view. We were at midnight when the match got halfway through. Nobody wanted to be there anymore. Everyone was so tired of this match, they just wanted to get out and leave, which quite honestly, if I was them, I would have left anyway. You know how the match was going to be done, except for the ending, which I'm sure a lot of people would have been pissed they missed, but nobody cared. And that probably pissed Brock Lesnar off more than anything, is the fact that nobody cared about this match. He probably told Vince McMahon that this match was going to go exactly how it did. Vince McMahon had wanted one ear and out the other. He wanted it done the way he wanted it to, and it didn't go the way, and people didn't care, and it probably pissed Brock Lesnar off more than anything. Now, the only people who knew about this finish by the time the match started was Roman, Brock, Paul Heyman. Well, Paul Heyman didn't know about the finish. Nobody knew about the finish, actually. Paul Heyman knew who was going to win the match. So did Roman, and so did Brock. So did Vince McMahon. The referee didn't even know about the end of this match. He thought, going into this match, it's going to be Roman. Somewhere in between that little earpiece they see, I'm pretty sure the referee gets told when the match is going to change. He was told, when Brock goes for the F5, count the 3. Count the 3. So, yeah, that's how close and tight-knit this was. But this match, if you were going to plan this match for Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, this match should not have been your main event. Plain and simple. You sacrificed this entire fucking pay-per-view to put that shit on last. When other people like AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura deserved that spot. when Daniel Bryan, if you wanted to, could have put that spot in. People said Ronda Rousey, which I don't buy. You could have put, and also the fact that the match before this was Braun Strowman pretty much burying the bar with a 10-year-old boy named Nicholas. As soon as that tag team match happened, the crowd, the energy was dead. The crowd was done. They wanted to go home. It was fucking shit from then on out. So, everything that happened at this pay-per-view was Vince McMahon's fault, and nobody's but Vince McMahon's fault. And WWE and Vince McMahon got every fucking thing that they deserved from this match. You want to sit there and treat your fucking your fans like idiots and like imbeciles and want to insult their intelligence? Well, don't blame the fans when they shit on your product. It's your own damn fault. Vince McMahon should be taking a page out of Triple H's book and look at NXT and see how well it's done, because they're doing things right. And as I said at the beginning of this show, they have had 3 5-star matches in this year, while the main roster hasn't had a 5-star match since Money in the Bank in 2011. Let that one sink in for you. Former United States Champion teases a return to WWE. Former WWE's U.S. Champion Montel Vontavious-Poor, a.k.a. MVP, took to Twitter yesterday saying that he was open to following Bobby Lashley and returning to WWE. He types, "So Lashley is back in WWE. I could be persuaded to return if at WWE is interested in such a dynamic if." So, if anybody doesn't know, MVP and Bobby Lashley are really good friends. So if WWE wanted another body for the mid-card division, MVP could come back, and that would be great for him. But that's that. So if you see MVP coming back anytime soon, then you can thank Bobby Lashley if you're an MVP fan. This next one, I don't know why WWE would even want to do this, and it makes no sense to me. Possible turn plans for Bray Wyatt. There has been a push within WWE for Bray Wyatt to turn on Matt Hardy and then be the leader of Sanity on the main roster. According to the Wrestlemania newsletter, no word on if they are moving forward with this idea, but it has been pitched. Wyatt recently joined Hardy and helped him win the 5th annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 34. They are set to team up on Monday to face the Revival, with the winners facing the Bar for the vacant tag team titles at April 27th's Greatest Royal Rumble event in Saudi Arabia. May I ask why? Sanity has a leader. That's Eric Young. Why would you take Eric Young? Eric Young is so far into his career that he's not going to take a backseat to anybody as a leader. That guy is the leader of Sanity. Unless you're going to remove Eric Young from the position of leader of Sanity, which would make no sense whatsoever. The Sanity stable was built for Eric Young on its own. Why would you have Bray Wyatt, because he did such a good fucking job as the Wyatt family leader, leave these two as a tag team for now? Give them the tag team titles in Saudi Arabia. You can move the Bar to SmackDown if you want to, or break them up, whichever you want to do. But do not have Bray Wyatt turn on Matt Hardy right now. Yes, there was, I think Pro Wrestling Unlimited was the one who actually pitched this. It's like, maybe this is how Brother Nero gets involved. You have Matt Hardy and Brother Nero team up to take on Bray Wyatt and Sanity. No, Vince McMahon's not going to want to use Brother Nero much, if at all, except for in final deletion videos or something. But this makes no sense for them to even do it. Not right now. Let these guys have a run as a tag team. This is a good thing for Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy, unfortunately, the Woken gimmick only works good in a tag team. Unless, of course, he's feuding with Jeff as Brother Nero. In Impact Wrestling, other than the first, 2-3 months of the gimmick of Broken Matt Hardy, when he finally broke Jeff and made Jeff become Brother Nero 100%, those two were a tag team for the rest of the time in Impact Wrestling. The Broken gimmick is more accustomed to a tag team role than anything else. So keep these two and put Sanity on its own. And you don't need to put Sanity on Raw anyway. You have the Authors of Pain. We don't need to have Sanity. See, Sanity is in a really bad spot right here, right now, because you have the Authors of Pain on Raw. You have the Bludgeon Brothers on SmackDown. They are these two unstoppable forces, as they should be booked from here on until whenever, that you really don't know where you're going to put Sanity because they're the craziness of the group. You can have two of them on Raw, you can have two of them on SmackDown if there was 4 guys, but there's only 3 guys and Nikki Cross. Who knows what they're going to do, but this idea I do not want them to do, at least not yet. And why would you put Bray Wyatt as the Sanity leader? Like I said, they did a real good job with him and the Wyatt family, so why would you even think about this? Whoever pitched this idea, please let them go. Give them a pink slip. I bet you it was, oh, you didn't know? I'm the Road Dogg and I have some stupid fucking ideas. Let's give Jinder Mahal a 6-month title reign when it's going to fucking kill the show. That's my best Road Dogg for you. So, I'd say, like I pitched on Monday, the Hardy Wyatt team wins the match because you're not going to Saudi Arabia with a heel versus heel team. It's just not going to happen. They want to make this a big show. You're not going to have a heel versus heel tag team match for the tag team titles, which are vacant. Just isn't going to happen. So they're going to win the match, I'm sure, on Monday. And then you're going to have them. They should go to Saudi Arabia and win the titles. Let them have a good 6-month title reign. Then, of course, they're going to lose them to the AOP, I'd say, about Money in the Bank or whatever comes after Money in the Bank. So this should not be even addressed. Whoever put this book this idea or pitched this idea, see you bye. Your ideas are stupid. WWE officially announces return of the UK tournaments. WWE has officially announced the return of the UK tournament earlier this week. The event will take place at the Royal Albert Hall in London on June 18th and 19th. Now. This is a really sticky situation here because the 16th is TakeOver Chicago. The 17th is Money in the Bank. The 18th is night 1 of this tournament and Monday Night Raw. And then night 2 is the 19th, is the second day of this, and SmackDown Live. So that's NXT TakeOver, Money in the Bank, day 1 and Raw, day 2 and SmackDown. Now, I don't know if they're actually going to show these live on the network, since it's going to be, because the last one of these tournaments happened on a Friday and Saturday, I believe. So there was no conflict with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Is WWE really going to put this on live? I do not know. I do know it's going to happen on 18th and 19th. If you're going to the Royal Albert Hall, get yourself ready. There is a difference to this tournament because it's going to be a one-night tournament with the winner of this tournament going to the next night to face Pete Dunne for the UK Championship, which could possibly be the night Pete Dunne will lose the title. Just saying. Speaking of this tournament, this special, several matches have been announced for the UK tournament. I have a feeling we'll be on night 2 because they're not just going to throw Pete Dunne out there with the winner of the tournament and that's it. WWE has confirmed several matches for the UK title tournament event scheduled for Royal Albert Hall in London on June 18th and 19th. The one-night tournament to crown a new number 1 contender to the UK champion Pete Dunne for a title match on the second night. A 6-man match with Dunne, Pete, and Trent Seven versus the Undisputed Era, NXT Tag Team Champions Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and NXT North American Champion Adam Cole on the first night. Okay, so that's going to happen on the first night. Plus 3 NXT title matches to take place the second night. Cole will defend his title while Strong and O'Reilly will defend their titles, and NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler will defend her title. Below is the full announcement. So basically, this is happening 2 days and 3 days after TakeOver Chicago. So any one of these titles could change hands beforehand. But here is the full WWE UK Championship match announced at Royal Albert Hall. The WWE United Kingdom Championship tournament events at Royal Albert Hall are beginning to take shape as WWE.com has confirmed that a one-night tournament, a 6-man tag team match, and several title defenses are slated for the historic back-to-back shows on June 18th and 19th. The events kick off with the United Kingdom Championship tournament on Monday, June 18th, though the competitors have yet to be revealed. We'll probably know more about the competitors in May because there's no reason they can put all this stuff out here. We don't need to know about the competitors now. My question is it going to be new guys, or are we going to see a mixture of new UK stars and returning UK stars from the last tournament? That is yet to be seen. It is now known that the winner of the tournament will earn an opportunity to challenge the WWE United Kingdom Pete Dunne champion beat down the following night inside London's most vaunted venue. The Bruiserweight will also be in action on June 18th, hitting with Mustache Mountain, also known as British Strong Style is the actual name of their faction, in Evolve, to face the NXT's Undisputed Era. This match announcement comes on the heels of Roderick Strong's betrayal of Dunn and subsequent joining the Undisputed Era. At NXT TakeOver New Orleans, will Dunn lead his fellow proponents of British Strong Style to victory against the Black and Yellow brand's most controversial faction. In addition to Dunn's title defense against the tournament winner, the event on Tuesday, June 19th, will feature 3 NXT Championship matches, including NXT North American Championship match, Women's Championship match, and Tag Team Championship match. Adam Cole, Shayna Baszler, and the Undisputed Era are the current title holders, respectively, but with NXT TakeOver Chicago happening 2 days before this whole thing starts, the United Kingdom Championship tournament events this June, there's no telling who will be champions when WWE returns to Royal Albert Hall for the first time since 1991. Tickets for both nights are available now at www.bookingsdirect.com and www.livenation.co.uk. So, looking forward to that. Now, with this, they did during the Hall of Fame, the first night during the Hall of Fame, they showed that WWE is bringing the King of the Ring back for the UK. So, did they give up on the King of the Ring already and go with the UK tournament? Because I don't understand why you're doing this tournament if you've already announced the King of the Ring. But I'm excited but that's going to be a lot of wrestling. I don't know if they're doing this live. I honestly don't know how they're doing this live on the network 2 days and 3 days after NXT TakeOver, a day and 2 days after Money in the Bank, and Raw and SmackDown later in the nights on both nights. That's a lot of wrestling. You thought WrestleMania week was crazy. If that actually happens and they actually show these live on the network, it's definitely going to be one of those things that like me and other content creators, are going to be doing a lot of double time on Monday and Tuesday, on the 18th and 19th of June. I'm looking forward to it. I wonder who's going to be in this tournament. There is talk that Zach Gibson from Defiant, and I believe Defiant Wrestling and Evolve Wrestling and other UK promotions is part of that, has signed on for the UK division. Hopefully, at this show, not the first night, because that'd be stupid, but on the second night, as the show's over, they will give us an announcement of what's going to happen. Will we see, will they say, well, coming in 3 months or coming later this year, the UK show starting on the WWE Network on Thursday. Even though we don't need it, but that's neither here nor there. So, looking forward to that, seeing who's going to be the champions and the challengers for the NXT titles. I wonder why the NXT Championship's not on the line. And I'm sure Aleister Black will be champion coming out of NXT TakeOver Chicago. Baszler, Cole, and of course the Undisputed Era of Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. We will have to wait and see. That is all the news I have for the week. Thank you all for watching this. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Smash the hell out of that like button. I want to see that like button broken. As well as give me a comment down below on the news stories I brought you this week. Thank you guys again for all the views and support for the last few days. We did have, as I've seen, the Superstar Shakeup preview and predictions, which I will be here on Monday, of course, for day 1 and Tuesday for day 2. You guys have yourself a wonderful weekend. It is tax weekend. If you have not got your taxes in yet, make sure to do that before Tuesday, or the taxman IRS will come after you. I'm just kidding. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at TheFrance. Follow me on twitch.tv at TheFrance08. I will be back on Monday again for Superstar Shakeup night 1 and Superstar Shakeup night 2, and then Wednesday, of course, we start the new set of tapings for NXT TakeOver Chicago. It won't be a big build yet. We'll be starting little increments to know we'll have an idea of what they're going for TakeOver Chicago out of these tapings, most likely. Until then, I will see you guys on Monday. And you guys have yourselves a wonderful afternoon, evening, and night. And I will see you guys Monday.